Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Lighting, 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 lighting. There we go. Good morning, good people. Today is Saturday, January 3rd, 2026. My name is Edward Bevilacqua, and this is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to put the special coffee mug on the heater. Anyway, January 3rd, 2026. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. This is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help our students and interested people on their journey through this life. Where we have the belief that we have a soul that continues after death. And it continues on the trajectory we are on. So, you can plot it like this. My life is like, I haven't really done much, but at the very end, on my deathbed, I changed. Okay, cool. You're here, but somebody who did it their whole life is up here. Boom. And they're going to keep going this way. You're going to go this way, plus this little blip. Bing. Got a long way to go, but you're headed in the right direction. So that is the belief here. And we also, I guess I'm going to put my coffee cup over here from now on. This is day 6 in week 1 of our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. Day 6, week 1. We are going to be talking about, once again, Viktor Frankl, heroic suffering, and that is when people keep going even when they have nothing to gain. What is it that causes people to keep moving forward when there's nothing in it for them? There's no reason to keep trying. Okay, well, excuse that. All right, so we are also 6 days, 5 days. We've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 5 days from show number 1. 5 days from show number 1. So that is good. And what else? What else we got? Okay, well, let's move forward then. On to our worksheet. Worksheet that is down below. Advice from an 80-year-old. Take charge of your attitude. Don't let someone else choose it for you. Right. That's like what we say about emotions. The third leg of the table. Third leg of the table. We'll do it this way. Third leg of the table. Emotions. We say if you can't control your emotions, don't worry. Someone else will, and they'll probably take you out of the game. People are always going to try to control our emotions. They're always going to do things. And it's not necessarily, I would say it's usually not that they think about, I'm going to control their emotions. They're just thinking about themselves. That's it. Or they're thinking about what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about when people do things to try to affect my emotions. It's not because they are like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to make you upset. They're just doing their thing. And that should be part of how to control your emotions. It's not personal. Don't take it personally. Don't assume that they're doing it, that they mean it personally. Yes, I got my haircut yesterday. I had him add in a little bit of gray, so I look distinguished. Right. Okay. So the 80-year-old says, take charge of your attitude. Don't let someone else choose it for you. Right. Take control of your emotions. Take charge of your attitude. Don't let someone else choose it for you. That's good advice from an 80-year-old. Okay, let's see what Seth Godin has to say. The paradox of on trend. I don't know if I've ever heard that one, on trend. I've heard it's the trend. By the time you get around to embracing the fashion of the moment, it's almost certainly too late. The leading edge is defined by the fact that most of us aren't on it. Most of us are not on the leading edge, right? So that makes me think of Jeffrey Moore, Crossing the Chasm, right? He says when there's a product, you have a normal distribution, what we call a bell curve, but he says there's a gap. When you're doing new innovations, there's this gap that you have to cross. If you don't cross the gap, the new product doesn't take off. You have to cross this little gap. Crossing the chasm, the trend. And so he takes the normal distribution and he says there are some people that are the leading edge. It's not early adopters, but it's something before that. Like they're the Apple people, the people that buy Apple computers or Apple iPhones that wait outside the store for the store to open, or the movie that's going to play. They're in line waiting for days because they need to be first. True believers. Then you have the okay, so the opposite of them are the laggards, the ones that would only buy a smartphone because they couldn't buy the Fred Flintstone phones anymore. Okay, the ones that will say, I'll change when hell freezes over. Okay, so you have the not early adopters, but the other ones, the innovators, I think. And then you have the laggards. Next, you have the early adopters. They're the ones that once they figure it out, they want to get it right away. And you have the early majority and the late majority. Those are the two tops. And one, I think he has four, but there's the ones that are right out in front, and then there's the ones that are right behind them. And then you have the early majority, which are the people who, or let's say the restaurant, the sellers, the people who start selling the new product because they have an attitude of, I know what my customers like. That's something new. I know what they like. My customers will want that. And then the other side of that is the people who say, as soon as my customers want it, I'll get it. I'll put that on the menu as soon as it's proven. So Seth Godin is saying, we're not over here. We're not in the early adopter stage. We're not in the innovator stage. We're the guys that, so when it comes to a trend, the leading edge of the trend is you do it before it becomes a trend. And that's going to kind of bleed over into our talk of today regarding the book, What Did Jesus Say? An Experience I Had. So let's talk about that and the power of AI, which in the future will be like, boy, that was really the Stone Age. What you're talking about is the Stone Age. Well, I'm talking about now before it's the trend, before it's the bleeding edge right now. For people, it's magic. So Last week, I distributed a couple more books. The first couple weeks I had books. I gave them out to people who were pastors and people who were religious. And what did I get? I got polite silence. Polite silence, which would be as expected, right? Because when you read, what did Jesus say? There's a Copernican revolution in it. A much needed Copernican revolution, which diehard people could say it's heresy. The Copernican revolution is heresy, which is what they said about heliocentrism. Heresy, because the Bible is very clear. The earth does not move. Okay. Give the book to pastors, polite silence. Then I gave the book to plus one person of people who are religious. People who I would say are Bible readers, highly religious. They want to understand, they want to figure it out, but they think they're on the right path. One person embraced it. The other person was, I read a couple pages. Here's your book back. I didn't write in it. Please, Satan, go. And the other person was, I really think you're onto something here. So they could see themselves. So one person, not a nun, goes to church a lot. One person actually, anyway, he knows who he is. One person, open, highly educated, highly trained, open-minded, high IQ, a lot of experience, receptive. Let's figure this out. Does it hold tight? Does it make sense? Is there a thing where we just went off the cliff, everything collapsed? I took this one little thing out and boom, everything dropped. Reading it as it is intended. Where are the weaker spots? The other person, highly religious, to the extent of one of the people who non-biblically believes that they have conversations with Jesus. And I checked that out. Did a little search to see, does it ever say in there, you can have a conversation? No, you can pray. But having a conversation, what should I do today? Hey, Jesus, what should I do today? What should I order for lunch? You tell me, Jesus. Okay. People that are like that. We're like, no, thank you. All right. Now, then after that, in fact, that one book that I got back, I'm having breakfast with somebody who's a nun, spiritual but not religious. And I passed the book on to that person. I had breakfast with that person yesterday, and they were like, wow, you nailed it. You nailed it. You really hit home. The formatting sucks, and there's a lot of redundancy in here, but this has got something. Then we start spitballing. We start doing a Southern California or Northern California, Silicon Valley, over breakfast, spitballing. Well, how do we take this to the next level? If you think it's good and I think it's good, there's probably other people that think it's good. How do we segue, create a trend? How do we create a trend? And this person says, I have an idea. I know exactly what to do. We will have stickers made up that are about this size. So that would be 6 on a piece of paper, but that doesn't matter. About this size. There's something here, text here, QR code, and something down here. Very simple. And that gets placed wherever. And it has a compelling line of text that says, what did Jesus actually say? And then the QR code, it might say in small print, find out now, or find out, boom. And so, okay, cool. We'll just put stickers all over the place where people go. All right. So then I go back to ChatGPT, which is really, for me, Claude AI. Go back, put in, here's this, here's what happened, here's this, here's the guy thinking about that. What do you think? And it comes back brilliant. I say brilliant. Let's see, let me get the exact, because I copied the quote. And sent it to the person. Here's a summary. Here's the summary from Claude AI in quotation mark. This is genuinely exciting, Edward. Blank's instincts are spot on. This approach could get WD, what did Jesus say, in front of tens of thousands of nuns within a year. The question isn't whether to do it, but how fast can we move? Thanks for your insight. Okay. So what I said is, to the AI, what do you think of the idea of making stickers and posting around? Now, the AI, of course, knows everything about WDJS because it's part of the project. So it has all of those files. It's intimately aware of what we're doing, what we're trying to do, why we're trying to do it, etc. And now it says there's this guy who I'll call John. John suggests, why don't we have stickers made and we will put them on gas pumps and bulletin boards and this and that. We'll do that, but let's add in the technology that when somebody scans it, it puts a little pin on a map and gamify it so that people get the incentive to, I'm going to put a lot of these things out and I'm going to scan it, and other people are going to do it, and we're going to do this and that, and this is going to happen. And pretty soon you have people going, okay, so what happens when you scan? Well, now you scan and you go to TikTok video or a bunch of TikTok videos, or probably a TikTok video, and then from the TikTok video you can branch out into other stuff and just get the word out. So kind of as a way to test, just to have fun, to see, can we create a Copernican revolution? Can we do that? Can we slow the tide, stem the tide of the decline? Now, here's another interesting thing. So then I had lunch with someone else, gave them a book, a highly religious person, gave them the book, didn't really get why, it's kind of like, why do we need this? Because we already know it's true. It's like, okay, well, just pretend you're a nun and read it. Well, and then we got into a discussion about, no, the church is growing. And it's like, no, it's actually not growing. The actual statistics are, for every one person that joins, 6 people leave. And a material number leave, probably more people leave by death than by choice. Or no, more people leave by death than join. Okay, because it's the older people. The younger people are not religious. They might be spiritual, but they're not really religious. The older people are more religious because they grew up in a time where that's what you did, where like 90% of the population was religious. You were looked at strangely if you didn't go to church. Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, we hear in the news, Turning Point USA, yeah, young people are coming. Okay, so I said, so here would be an example. Let's think of in our church. Well, I didn't say our church. Here would be an example. Yes, Last year, we doubled the number of people being baptized. It went from 100,000 to 200,000. We're on our way. But what they don't say is, but 600,000 people left. Right, that's the problem. So the reports, the Pew Research, it's people are leaving like crazy. Plus, the standard is diminished greatly. So if you are asked a question, what religion are you? What is your religion? Where do you go to church? And you say none. I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I don't go to a church. You are a nun. Or if you say I'm an atheist or I'm an agnostic, you're over in the none category. However, if you say I'm Catholic and they say, okay, cool. How often do you go to church? Once a week, twice a month, 4 times a month, twice a month, once a month, seldom or never. You say seldom or never, you are a nun, but you are counted as Catholic. So if we go to the actual people who go to church and you say, how many people go to church every week? At least 3 times, almost 3 to 4 times a month, it's abysmal. It's dismally abysmal. Okay, so we're out of time. Today, much of my day is going to be spent on creating a test for the Copernican revolution, which is going to be my capstone project for school. And with that, we're going to say, okay, I know today was kind of a little bit different than we usually do. A lot of stuff happening. The show is happening next week. School starts next week. We're going to start trying to do the Copernican revolution. And yeah. So bear with us. It's the days like this that make the good days look even better. Okay. So hasta la vista, baby. Bonk.